My name is Christine. And my name is Tracy. And this is Moses. Our establishment is called Hydrant Rescue, and we were established in August of 2006. As of May of 2009, we've rescued 13 dogs in South Carolina.
I was interested in saving dogs, so I started getting on Craigslist, and I found an ad that they had, and they had a picture of him. He had demodecked mage, but they at the time did not know, so I went up there to Liberty County Animal Control. They're in Georgia, and he had they had pictures where he had no hair and his nose was all bloody and whatnot. So we drove up there 4.5 hours, and we picked him up. I brought him back, and the conditions that he was in was basically a concrete cell with chain link, and the concrete was completely wet, and it really upset me that they had him staying that way. There's a lady by the name of Petra who does her best to get the dogs rescued out of there, and she would go in at night for me, and she would take a comforter in for him to lay on so that he wasn't on the wet floor. He has been diagnosed with the mange, but he is in treatment right now. He looks really good compared to what he did. He now has some hair coming in. The vet is very pleased with him. They will do another skin sample just to make sure that it's all gone, but this is basically the start of our business, and we have, from then, continually just keep looking for new dogs that we can go and rescue and save.
We're on our way to a high-kill shelter to pick up 2 dogs. One is a Catahoula and another is a Black Lab mix. And they both are around about a year to 2 years. It's a little hard to tell their exact age, but they're more or less puppies. So we'll have to be pretty careful to find out if they're skittish. Some puppies, if they were ever beaten or anything before, you just got to be a little bit careful when they're in the car. So it'll be a lot of work as far as just checking out their personalities.
Our second trip that we made, I originally had contacted Petra. There were 3 Black Labs that they had up there, and so I contacted her and told her that I wanted to come get them. By the time it came for me to come get them, they had contacted me, and they had more puppies that were picked up and asked if I could take them. And so I told them yes. I met a person in Jacksonville. She did have to transport for me, so that I didn't have to go all the way to Georgia. And she brought me 9 dogs. 3 of them were about approximately 3 weeks old. And we don't know if they're brothers and sisters, but they came from the same litter at the time they were picked up. And we had to do our best to try and bottle feed them, which was very difficult. I learned how to take puppy formula and food and mix it up in a blender and make it into a mush. And we slowly fed them that way until I could get them on dry dog food. And Tracy came over and helped me. We had to keep them in the bathtub, and we would continually, every morning and every night, we would have to clean everything up. And eventually we moved them into a crate and gave them a play yard that they could learn that they were in their crate for at night, that they could come out in the play yard and play. And when we bring the dogs home, they are part of our house. I have 2 other dogs at home, and they interact with all of the dogs that we bring. So they get a lot of social interaction with other dogs. And we try to do our best to train them as much as we can and give them their shots. And if they're old enough, we get them spayed or neutered or whatnot before they're adopted out.
We also bring dog crates as well, just to put the dogs in the back, because we're not sure if they'll get along with each other. They're most likely aren't caged together right now, so just to make sure that we don't have any issues on the road till we can get them together and actually see how they interact, then we will keep them separate. But we will make a couple stops on the way just to make sure that, of course, everybody gets their break and gets to walk away from the cage.
When I came over the next morning to help her clean up the puppies and get them all in order, and the 3 small puppies were in the bathtub, I thought that they would be much bigger. You think of a puppy at least being something that you could hold, but they literally fit inside your hand. They look like small mice, actually, and didn't have their eyes open, and so we had to teach them how to eat. And more of the time, they just walked through the food and walked all over the floor and all over you, so we spent most of the time just cleaning them up. But it was definitely an experience of teaching a dog how to eat for the first time when they're normally eating from their mother.
The
the shelter that we're going to is the type of shelter that will euthanize the dogs if they're not taken out, of course, and they actually do not adopt to the public. You have to be an organization and a rescue to go in and actually take them. So those are the shelters that we will target. It won't be your normal SPCA where dogs can actually be adopted by the public, because normally they have a greater chance. With these type of shelters, once they're brought in, they have about a time frame of 1 to 2 weeks, and if they are not taken out by a rescue, then they will be euthanized. So these two were scheduled to be euthanized for the end of this week, so that's why we want to make sure that we get in there early enough to make sure that they do get a chance for a home.
These are the two dogs that we rescued. This one, the Black Lab, we've temporarily named Ivory. And the Catahoula, we've temporarily named Tebow. They're a little bit bigger than we originally thought, so we're gonna have to actually just let them roam in the car free instead of having them in crates. So we'll see how that works for the car ride home. We're not too many hours away. If you or anyone you know is looking to rescue a dog, you can find us online at either Facebook, MySpace, or RedHydrantRescue.com.